Judica County is brought to you by Whitaker and Hamer, attorneys and counselors at law, your law firm for life.
Welcome back into Judica County Radio. Your hosts are Josh Whitaker and Joe Hamer, managing partners, Whitaker and Hamer Law Firm, practicing attorneys here in North Carolina. And again, Whitaker and Hamer, your law firm for life. They've got offices almost everywhere. Raleigh, Garner, Clayton, Goldsboro, Fuquay, Varina, Gastonia, and in Morehead City. If you've got a legal situation, you've got some questions, you need some answers, you can always call Whitaker and Hamer. 800-659-1186. That's 800-659-1186. Leave your contact info, briefly what the call's about, and an attorney with Whitaker and Hamer will be in touch. And you can email your questions to the show, info@judicacounty.com. We'll answer them on a future broadcast. Let's get back to the list. We have mistakes people are making when they're starting a business, Josh.
That's right. If you've been with us for the entire show, we have been going down our top 10 list of mistakes people going into business.
It's like top 7, actually.
First time, second time, third time, people going into business for themselves, the mistakes they make. So this is all about planning to avoid, trouble. Yeah, trouble. Yeah. Lawsuits, misunderstandings, that kind of thing. And I'm going to read this quote again. I've read it. I've mentioned it once already.
I think you got to start reading it every segment.
I'm going to start this segment because to me, it really jives with what we're trying to do here. Because you can make all these plans and still get something back. Could still happen. It could still the business could still fail.
That wasn't the quote, right?
No,
that was just an abbreviated version. Are you going to do the real quote?
I'm going to do the real.
Do it in his accent.
I can't do it.
Okay.
So Star Trek, Captain Picard. It's next generation.
It's
the next. It's
the
not
next
the new generation.
It's not the new generation. No, it's the.
What is it?
It might be the new.
I think it's the next generation.
I think it's the new.
Mm-hmm.
You want me to find out?
Yeah, you work on that.
You hold tight, brother. I'll be right back.
So Captain Picard said, "It is possible to commit no errors and still lose. That is not a weakness. That is life."
But he said it with a cool accent.
Oh, he said it much cooler than me. Much more authoritative. But, okay, so that's what we're doing here. We're talking about mistakes people make. A lot of these have been pretty good. I'm going to read this next one. This is number 6 on this list, but I'm going to read it. Doing business with a handshake. Doing business with a handshake. And we've been talking about this, documenting everything, making sure everybody's aware of everybody else's expectations, your partners, your shareholders, your members, your managers, the people that are going to work for you, customers. Me and Joseph, we grew up down here when it was a little more rural.
Oh yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We were handshaking everybody back then, my brother.
And I still have a tendency to do that. I will still, even as an attorney who tells you not to do it, I will still do some things with a handshake because if you're dealing with the right people, a handshake means a lot.
It does a lot. Yeah. We do some handshake stuff, man. I'll do a handshake thing with you.
That's right.
I'll do one right now.
I feel fine with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's probably not bad.
It's bad advice.
It's bad advice.
It's bad advice.
All right, you do that at your own risk and your own peril. Because God forbid if let's say me and Joseph had a handshake deal to do something,
a strong hand, a firm one,
and God forbid Joseph dies tomorrow.
Yeah, that's probably I have been letting myself go.
God forbid Joseph dies. His estate's not going to know about our handshake deal. His heirs aren't going to know about our handshake deal. Yeah. And if I just put $100,000 down on a piece of something, some equipment that me and Joe were going to start this business with a handshake, well, I'm out his half of it, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So the advice here is don't start anything with a handshake, and it bleeds into another one they have is like don't overly favor. They're saying this the wrong way, but don't overly favor friends and family with stock, with ownership interest, with promises. Your friends and family, if they want to be investors.
Talking about that old nepotism is what we're talking about right there.
Yeah. So if your family's lending you some money to get a business started, you can definitely talk about starting a corporation where they have some shares, maybe some non-voting shares, maybe some shares that get paid dividends before anybody else gets dividends, maybe some sort of preferential treatment to reward them for putting money down. But don't go overboard.
Mm-hmm.
You still have to make money. You still have to make a profit. You have to treat it like a business.
Yes. Star Trek: The Next Generation.
It is the next.
That's what it was. Yeah. I'm looking at the top 10. Speaking of top 10 list, the top 10 Star Trek shows. Sorry.
Is there 10?
Yeah, there's actually 10. Yeah, there might be more, but there's like an animated one, Prodigy, The Next Generation. Next Generation is number 3, by the way.
Yeah.
Number 2, the original. Number 1, Deep Space Nine.
See, I never saw that one at
No,
all.
who did? It doesn't even have Jean-Luc Picard in it. It's got this head, the guy whose head looks kind of, I don't know the nice way to say this. It looks kind of like a gluteus maximus.
Oh, yeah, I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah.
I think I've seen most of the original ones.
Look at that guy's head. You telling me that's not accurate? Look at that. What does that look like?
Oh yeah, I remember that guy.
Yeah, you see that for the camera?
I watched most of the originals, I think, over time.
Did you? So you said you weren't a Star Trek kid. You sound like a Star Trek kid.
No. I watched them. It was like the same phase I was going through. I watched most of them, and then I watched a lot of Twilight Zone, the original Twilight Zone.
Okay.
Which is good.
Yeah.
You've never seen that.
Yes, I have. What do you think I am, man? I'm familiar with it. Yes. Come on. I haven't seen all of it, obviously.
But I don't think I've seen every
But I've
one.
seen some of it.
And then I think the new generation came out like as a kid.
It's the Next Generation, man. I looked that up for the specific purpose of getting the name right, man.
Was the new generation? That's Pepsi.
I don't think that there is a new generation.
Pepsi generation.
Are we talking about a Pepsi commercial now?
Yeah, and that one.
All right.
It might have been a wrestling tag team.
Let me look it up. Yeah. You're thinking of the New Age Outlaws, my brother.
No.
I'll look it up. I'll figure out what the new generation is. You just keep going.
All right.
No, you keep going on your thought train. I don't want to derail it.
Oh, no. I'm going to the next thing on the list.
You're trying to hide the fact that you were a Star Trek kid. You let it out to the world, man.
The next thing on our list is sloppy employment contracts, right?
Ah.
So if your business is going to employ people, and we're in North Carolina. North Carolina is an at-will state. So you can hire anybody, fire anybody for any, not a legal reason, of course. But employment's a little different in North Carolina than it is in some states. So you don't have to have an employment agreement. You don't have to have a contract. But even short of a contract, if somebody's going to work for you, if somebody's going to be president of your corporation, if somebody's going to be a fiduciary to you or be doing something for you, it helps to have an express that stuff written out. Again, so everybody's on the same wavelength. Everybody's got the same expectations and the same. A lot of these are just documentation.
Man, it can help, yeah. But I'm gonna play devil's advocate here, man. Having an employment contract can help in those instances, but again, it's important to keep in mind that you are bound by that contract, right? So you're talking about a situation where the terms of that contract are going to dictate whether you can terminate that employment. Just be wary,
Yeah, definitely
keep your head on a swivel.
We never recommend. I see people use these templates that they'll pull off. Wherever website, wherever self-help website they pull them off of, and then they enter these agreements, or they use these as operating agreements or incorporation agreements, and then they don't read everything in there, and they don't necessarily understand everything in there, and then something goes wrong, and there's a lawsuit or a disagreement or a mediation that springs forth from it, and then they're bound by these terms that they didn't really understand or didn't even mean to include, but they're there.
Mm-hmm.
So we've seen that happen too. So definitely, if you're going to putting stuff in writing is great, gets everybody on the same page, get a written record of it, but make sure what's there is what you intend.
Yeah, make sure you understand it. You think that would go good? That goes without saying, but I feel like you still got to say it. Make sure it's there. Like, I'll put this in writing. This is a in writing guarantee to you. When I leave here, I will get Chick-fil-A, and I'll put it in my body. You take it to the bank.
What's your go-to
100%.
order? What's your go-to order at Chick-fil-A, Joe?
I'm getting a number 3 8-count with Polynesian sauce all day long.
I do
12 count. Sorry, 12 count. Excuse me.
I do the number 1 and get a side of.
What's the number 1, man?
It's just the regular sandwich and fries with a side of nuggets.
Okay.
I still get the
All
nuggets.
Right. It's just like a bunch of nuggets.
You double it up on the chicken. You do a sandwich and nuggets. Man, that's a lot.
Chicken.
That's a lot of chicken.
Can't hurt you.
Yeah, it's healthy.
Yeah, it's extra protein, man. It's barely got any calories to it. That's what I heard. That's what I read in a book. I'm not a dietitian, obviously, if you can look at me right now.
Judica County Radio, Josh Whitaker and Joe Hamer, Chick-fil-A fans, and they're the hosts of this show, Whitaker and Hamer Law Firm, where you can find them. They're the managing partners, practicing attorneys here in North Carolina. Again, Whitaker and Hamer, your law firm for life. Offices located Raleigh, Garner, Clayton, Goldsboro, Fuquay-Varina, Gastonia, and in Morehead City. If you've got a legal situation you're facing, you've got some questions, you need some answers, you can always call Whitaker and Hamer, 800-659-1186. Leave your contact information, briefly what the call is about, and an attorney with Whitaker and Hamer will be in touch. Again, the number 800-659-1186, and you can always email your questions to the show, info@judicacounty.com, and we'll answer those questions on a future broadcast. We are back on the other side to wrap this one up.